The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to bring you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.
This is Jordan Bennington, and you're listening to the Blues Fan Forum podcast.
On the ice, under St. Louis city lights, where the Blues play with all their might. Jordan Cairo, fast on the attack, but defense falters, gotta cut him some slack. In rubber tongues, we find our glory. His skills shine, the team's best story. St. Louis Blues, we wear the crest. In Jordan Bennington, we put our trust to the test. On the ice, we fight. For the city we love, in the blue no we'll thrust.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 154 of the Blues Fan Forum podcast, your source for Blues news, views, and fan interviews. The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Scooters Coffee. Blues fans can score amazing drinks like the Signature Caramelicious, served hot, ice, or blended with world-class espresso, fruit smoothies, Scoot energy infusions, and so much more. That's amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast Scooters Coffee. I'm your host today, Dakota. Unfortunately, we're going to be Jacob-less for the next hour, so unfortunately, you have to listen to me ramble on. But nonetheless, I won't be rambling on for too long because we are joined by Tom, our guest on today's show. Tom, how you doing today, boss?
I'm great, Dakota. Excited to talk Blues hockey.
Yes, we love talking Blues hockey, and I just kind of want to cut to the chase. I know that we've got a lot to cover. I know we have the Blues Fan Forum watch party. The Blues have kind of been on a slight heater. We'll get into that in a minute, but I feel like what we're about to talk about is really cool. I want to know how a guy from Nebraska becomes a St. Louis Blues hockey fan. So if you could just kind of walk me through your journey into becoming a Blues fan.
Yep. Before I get into that, it's really cool that this podcast is sponsored by Omaha-based Scooters. That's amazing. Yep. In fact, one of my work offices, it's like right nearby the headquarters for Scooters. So that's
nice.
That's pretty cool. Yep.
Nice.
Okay, so on to my journey as a Blues fan. It all started back in the playoffs in 2016, and the Blues were in the Western Conference Final. They were playing the Sharks. And so I didn't really know a ton about hockey at the time. I rarely ever watched the NHL, but being a sports nerd, it was the only thing that was on TV that was like even remotely interesting at the time. And so, I flip it on, I watch, and I watch not just the team, and unfortunately the Blues would fall to the Sharks in the game and eventually the series, but something caught my ear that I wasn't able to let go of, and it was the organist, Jeremy Boyer. Yes. Yeah, and I loved it. I just fell in love with the guy and his style and everything. I'm not an organist myself. I played piano as a kid, and eventually I ran out of time because I got like really busy with like show choir and stuff when I was in like middle school and then high school. But I've always loved organists, and that goes back to Lambert Bartak, who is the longtime organist for the College World Series. The College World Series, of course, is Omaha's biggest annual sporting event, and back in when it was at Rosenblatt Stadium, and it still continues on to this day at Charles Schwab Field with John Benedict, who I know it's not going to be popular here, but he's the organist for the Cubs. but yeah, and I really like how Jeremy Boyer, he always got the crowd going with the "Let's Go Blues" chants, and that was I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. And then what really caught my attention was when the Sharks scored, he played the classic CeeLo Green song "Forget You." I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of crazy that you mentioned Jeremy Boyer, because like I don't like Kelsey had mentioned in the comment section. I'll pull it up. That it's crazy to think that an organist can lead to following a team, right? Like who would have thought, right? And we've had Jeremy on the podcast before, and if you want to, you guys can go back and tune in. He's just a wealth of knowledge, like just a bit just of blues hockey history, but also just a good dude in general. Just loves music. Just a positive attitude. Like he's always willing to come up to you at games, or if you go up to him.
yeah,
Uh,
I went up
you
to
know,
him last time I was in St. Louis in January.
did you get to tell him your story and kind of like that, how he was the reason why you became a fan?
Yep, yeah, I told that story in the vlog episode.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
he
that's awesome.
we know each other decently well now. Yeah, we've been chatting like for years on like X or Instagram, and then yeah, we finally met in person last year, and yeah, we talked even further in person back in January, and yeah, so yeah, he's familiar with me, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that story a lot. That's so cool because and we talked to him, and I think I mentioned this to him, and I believe it rings true, like how we talked about the Kellys and their connection and ties to the St. Louis Blues organization. Like we're surrounded by music. That's kind of why the St. Louis Blues exist, and for us to have such a I would say a tremendous organist that kind of like leads the team onto the ice when he plays his little intro, and every time the Blues score, and
And the
and
Blues go
obviously when the
marching in.
opponents, yes, it kind of like, as for me being a Blues fan my entire life, my dad worked up for the Blues, and it kind of became my blood. But you just, when you're in Enterprise, formerly Scottrade, Kiel, you name it, it's the situation you're surrounded in, right? If you're there, you're hearing it. I mean, we talk to Jeremy all the time, but like he's in the PlayStation games now. Like you've made it that big. Like you're synonymous with St. Louis, and for that to be the reason why you became a Blues fan is just wild and very cool. So that's awesome. I love that. Jeremy's is such a good dude. But I'm so glad that he is our organist and nobody else's.
Yes. Yep. And actually, going back a little further, the seeds of my blues fandom were planted a little further than that, and it was when I was a sophomore in high school. Again, I at the time I didn't really know a ton about hockey, but I took a trip to St. Louis and took a trip to the then Scottrade, now Enterprise Center, to watch my college basketball team, my alma mater, Creighton.
Yes.
We were in the Missouri Valley at the time, and it was our last year in the Missouri Valley before we are now in the Big East. And yeah, we played in Arch Madness, and we won it. And I fell in love with the building. It was, yeah, I know it was obviously meant for the Blues, but Arch Madness is a thing that the building hosts every year, and I loved the atmosphere. I just loved it. Yeah, I love the
I,
city, and it was just a phenomenal time. I've never had a bad time in St. Louis, even before I became a Blues fan. So, yeah, I in that moment back and fast forward to 2016 when I was first like falling in love with Jeremy and his organ playing. Yeah, I think back to 2013, and I'm like, why don't I become a Blues fan? Like I've always loved St. Louis. Why don't I follow the Blues? I mean, I don't know a ton about hockey, but yeah, I mean, the rest is history from there.
and it's funny that you mentioned, the building, and I believe it was kind of an eyesore when it was we had the Kiel Opera House, we had the Kiel Center, the Savas Center, obviously now like it was formerly known as the Scottrade, now Enterprise. They've done a lot of renovations to the building, and have made it kind of a destination, as you would say, to come watch a hockey game. Sure, come for the fans or come for the beer, come for the game, but see the amenities around. I mean, it steps away from the St. Louis Union Station. There's so many cool things to do in downtown St. Louis, but Enterprise has now been a staple ever since the Blues kind of won the Stanley Cup in 19. We hosted the All-Star game. We hosted as you mentioned in your video, the Frozen Four. Um, and it's just kind of become a. I mean, obviously too, it's recognized by the NCAA. Now we're going to host a couple of
Yep.
the round of 64 games for the for March Madness. So
Yeah.
it's kind of become a huge thing, right? Like the building doesn't make the team, but it definitely helps. And so being recognized and seeing those renovations come to fruition. I mean, again, Scott Trade was cool. Like the what do they call it? The jumbotron was small, but now at
Hmm.
Enterprise, anywhere you sit, you're going to be able to see a view of the ice. So
Hmm.
um, it's really cool to kind of see that. But now I kind of want to use that little tidbit, and let's talk about some further endeavors. All right. So I believe sports stadium travels. Let's talk about this. Where
Yes.
have you gone? Where are you going? And where have you been? Let's talk all about it.
Yeah. So Tom Stadium Takes and Travels, which is the name of my YouTube vlog. You can follow me and give me a subscribe on YouTube, just on my name that you see right there, Tom Seline. And yeah, I started this in June of 2024 when I traveled 3 hours down I-29 and I did a Royals game. So I have a buddy of mine that actually plays for the San Diego Padres. He's the knuckleball pitcher, Matt Waldron. We went to high school together in Omaha. And yeah, I wanted to go see him play. And I'm like, and before I went, I was like, I've always been a fan of like exploring like different sports venues, whether it's stadiums, ballparks, arenas, you name it. And so, yeah, I wanted to create a YouTube channel and like show these places off. Every venue has a story, like why this place was built, how was it built, what are the different quirks, amenities, features that you see here that you may not see anywhere else. And so, yeah, I wanted to do that. And then, of course, yeah, I filmed my episode at Kaufman, which was an hour long because there's a lot to feature,
Mhm,
not just in there, but my entire time in Kansas City, from to the Negro Leagues Museum to
mhm,
Arthur Bryant's to Gates. I mean, Kansas City has absolutely wonderful barbecue.
mhm,
And yeah, and I also have done episodes at a few venues around my own city, such as Charles Schwab Field for the College World Series. That was the very next episode. Warner Park, which is the home of the Omaha Storm Chasers. They're a AAA minor league baseball team for the Royals. I've done other major league ballpark episodes in Minnesota, in Oakland. Yep, I got to see the A's before they
wow.
left. Yeah, and San Francisco across the bay. Last year, I did episodes in Atlanta, at Wrigley, at Milwaukee, and at
Mhm,
Colorado. This year, I am planning on doing episodes in Anaheim. I have a lot of family that live in Southern California. And ironically, some of them are Dodger fans, but the Dodgers aren't going to be in town at the time I visit, but the Angels will be. And so, yeah, I'll visit the Angels. I will visit the the White Sox later this year, as well as the Texas Rangers. And I'm hoping Memorial Day weekend to go do the San Diego, just do an episode on my buddy and his Padres. I'm hoping to go with his family if things work out. Of course, I'll go to San Diego. If things don't work out, I plan on going to Cincinnati. I want to do Major League Ballpark vlog episodes every Memorial Day and every Labor Day
mhm.
weekend, and I'll be in Texas for Labor Day weekend. And unfortunately, the Cardinals, they are not in town either Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the Cardinals will. I'm going to get to Bush sometime in the future, but yeah, yeah, I'm just holding off on them for now. But yeah, it's and I do minor league venues, college venues, the CHI Health Center where Creighton plays. Yeah, I've actually been there twice. Yeah, I've done 2 episodes there. That is for Creighton basketball and for our professional volleyball team, the Omaha Supernovas. Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, that's a lot there, but yeah, it's been so fun. It's become the pride and joy of my life, and there's nothing that I enjoy more than going around the country, checking out these amazing places, and yeah, doing an episode on them. And one more thing, then I'll shut up. Last fall, I went to Buffalo, went to do a Bills game at their old stadium before they tear it down. So yeah, I want to go to major sports venues in their last year
Yeah.
before, yeah, before they shut down. And so yeah, I did that for the Bills. This fall, I plan on doing that for the Tennessee Titans.
Yes. Wow, man, you are well traveled. Wow. I'm gonna live vicariously through you because I've had a couple opportunities to go to different sports venues, but nearly not as enough as I should be going to, apparently, from your list of things. Uh, my favorite ballpark I've been to probably uh, would be Milwaukee. I still want to call it Miller Park, even though I know it's called American Family Field. Uh, but man, geez Louise, I think the other stadium that I've been to arena wise has been Dallas. I was in Dallas for about 6 weeks. My wife and I got to go see the one of the Western Conference final games against Edmonton, and going to see American Airlines arena. And that's an it's just we talk about St. Louis because we all love it as a St. Louis Blues fan, just the Enterprise Center and just the electricity that it brings. But when you're in somebody else's dome, in somebody else's arena, somebody else's backyard, and you can see just the presence that the fans have and how much they love their team. It's just something different, Like I'm 5 hours away from going to Wrigley. I've never been in my entire life. I've been a Cardinals fan basically since birth. I got a Cardinals tattoo on, but never been to Wrigley. Always wanted to go, and I've had friends that tell me all the time, dude, it's you got to go. And so the stadiums that are on my list are the stadiums that are basically historic for obvious reasons. I want to go to Camden Yards. I want to go to Wrigley. I want to go to Fenway, and then I want to go to um, San Francisco. I want to go see where Barry Bonds decided to deposit so many balls into the water. But those are kind of like those are the stadiums that I've kind of like started my bucket list on. But the stadiums that you've mentioned too, like Petco, like I don't even know if it's called Petco Park anymore, but
It is.
San Diego, the warehouse that's over in left field, like that to me is historic. It's so cool.
I actually have been to Petco before, but I need to go back there and do a vlog episode on it. There are several major league ballparks that I've been to, but I haven't yet done a vlog episode on. Yeah, Petco is one of them. And I have another buddy of mine that's in the major leagues. He plays for the Astros, Jake Myers, another high school buddy of mine. And yeah, I've been to Daikin, no, formerly Minute Maid, now Daikin Park in Houston. Still need to go back there and do a vlog episode. One more quick note on the vlog. My most recent episode was at Allen Fieldhouse. I went to a KU game, the Kansas Houston game. I love college basketball. And yeah, it had been a long time that I had wanted to go to Allen Fieldhouse. I had never been there, even though I've got plenty of people in my life that have gone to KU. I've never had a chance to go, but I finally did. And I just got back from Kansas City this past weekend, and I'm in the production phase right now, but I've filmed another episode on the Big 12 tournament at the T-Mobile Center.
Yes. Wow. Man, when you said Allen Fieldhouse, I immediately got chills because my buddies are huge Jayhawk fans. And the fact that the two stadiums that they talk about, I'm going to butcher the other one because I forgot what its name is, but it's very historic too. You got Allen Fieldhouse, and then you got Duke's home place. Both of which, thank you, and both of which, their student section and just the arena and how it's shaped and built, everybody feels like they're on the court.
Yes.
I don't even know how to describe it because I've only seen it through videos and pictures, but it's a scene. Is all I can really describe it as. So that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yep. When
Man.
I was at the Fog, just a few weeks ago, I was decently high up, but I still felt like I was pretty close to the court. It's a very intimate building for being just over 15,000 seats. And the students, they are crazy in a good way, of course. They are right on top of you, and they make life hell for the opponent. They made Houston's life very miserable, and the Jayhawks ended up winning the game. It was an absolutely amazing atmosphere. It lived up to the hype. If you haven't been to Allen Fieldhouse, you probably are in a cave. I know KU is not exactly popular in St. Louis. It's a Mizzou territory, but you should still go. It's a hell of a time.
Yeah. Kelsey mentioned the last year at Old Meadowlands is how I convinced my dad to take me to my first Jets game. That's kind of a cool memory too. Yeah, there's just something about, it's funny you mentioned uh, Oakland because once a team's gone, it just becomes a deserted island. So like going there in the last ride of a team, you mentioned going to Buffalo. That new stadium they're building is just going to be absolutely a scene because the Buffalo Bills fans are just absolutely insane people. But
Yes.
seeing the old stadium before the new stadium is kind of cool. It's kind of like the passing of the torch. So that's really cool. That's really sick. And then obviously Tennessee's been building their stadium, it seems like, for the last 19 years. And they're just now going to get to move into it. But man, oh man, that's really cool, man. I will, after this podcast, we'll be sending you texts and living vicariously through you because I'm going to need to experience some things in my life that I might not be able to get to go to. So thank you for taking the trip for all of us.
Yeah. I'm so excited, and I'm just so blessed and fortunate to bring these wonderful places to you. Yeah, and I will absolutely add you guys to the list, and make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a new episode whenever they come out. And it's been an absolutely incredible ride, and we're just getting started in this thing. I love it.
Can't wait to see where it goes. All right. Now let's start talking some hockey. All right. We mentioned you've been a Blues fan for the last 10 years. What a better time to be a Blues fan. You witnessed our one and only Stanley Cup thus far, 2019. You talked about it in, I believe it was episode number 15, where you touched on the Blues' historic run to the Promised Land, and which, if you guys haven't checked that out, please do. He talks everything and anything St. Louis Blues hockey history from the time we originated in 1967 to the infamous Patty Maroon double OT goal for Dallas, to us just wiping the floor 4-1 Game 7 in Boston. Suck it, Brad Marchand. So now we're going to get to talk some hockey. So the Blues have been on quite a heater, and what I say heater is we couldn't find a streak if it hit us in the face before the Olympic break. So now we get to talk about some Blues victories. If you went to the Blues watch party against Carolina, thank you. Jacob appreciates it. He's not tuning in, or he's not on the podcast right now, but he's showing his love. Thanks for coming out and showing out. And that might be the last Blues Fan Forum watch party. Who never knows? But if I have anything to say about it, it won't be. So thanks for coming out. It was at the Friday South in Collinsville. If you tuned in, if you went there and enjoyed your time, it was a Blues victory. Usually for our watch parties, I know that I might get fact checked here. I think we've had like 4 or 5. I believe our record was about 1-4. So it's good that we ended on a victory. So let's start off the last few games. The last time we shot a podcast was last Tuesday. The Blues were playing against the New York Islanders. We got to see our friendly foe in Braden Shen. We ended up losing 4-2-3 in OT. Unfortunately, he had every possible way to break the Blues' hearts, and he did. He made a great pass. They ended up winning that game. Broberg, Holloway, and Snuggie on the score sheet. I honestly think the Blues did really, really well that game. High emotions. You got Braden Shen back in the building. Like, what are we going to do? We've won a couple games. We've gotten the confidence. Tom, did you happen to see that game or catch bits and pieces of it? And what'd you think of the boys?
Yeah, I caught bits and pieces of it. Once again, I'm not able to see the entire game, being in Omaha, being an out-of-market fan. But, yeah, I did see the bits and pieces. Yeah, it was a pretty emotional night, especially for folks in the building because Braden Shen, he had been on the Blues for a long time. He was one of the last remaining guys on the 2019 Stanley Cup team. And he's wearing the Islander orange and blue. And after being let go from the Blues, what was like a week since he had been gone, or what? Like
it was less than a week. I think it was 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, because he got traded to New York, and New York was actually at the same hotel as the Blues, and I believe they were playing the same team back to back. New York was playing them on Sunday. We had played them on a Saturday. He gets traded, walks down the hall, and then his next game after that game was, I believe, in St. Louis. So he got to fly back home, get some shit, and play for the Islanders. So it was less than a week. It was kind of a crazy story. I think that's the only time in that I know of that a guy gets traded and has to walk down the hall instead of getting flown to your team. You just walk down the hall and just join the new guys. So that was a crazy story in and of itself.
Yep. Yeah, but the Blues had a 3-1 lead and they blew it. And of course they lose in overtime. I am so sick of these overtime losses. How many times has this team lost in overtime, especially after having a lead, blowing it, and then ultimately losing? It's sickening.
Yeah, the amount of times, and I'm going to pull up this real quick. The amount of times the Blues have held their, I wouldn't say held, but they've had the lead going into the third, coughing it up and losing in OT or just as a regulation loss should be studied. Right now, our record's 27, 30, and 10 with 10 OT losses. But I mean, come on now. Like, something's got to give. I think 10 OT losses is a lot, but I believe a lot of those OTL losses were situations where the Blues either had the lead and coughed it, or I would say maybe one or two of those losses where we came back in the third period, managed to get a point out of it. You end up losing an OT. That to me is like a win
Okay.
because just to get to OT and get a point nowadays, it should be a win. Should be a win in the books. Hey, we fought our asses off for 60 minutes. We at least got a point out of something. But to suffer OT losses like the Blues have is just diabolical.
Yes.
But yeah, that was the New York Islanders game. Braden Shen goes home with a victory, packs his bags, and goes to spend some time in Long Island. Next game was the Blues watch party. That was the away game versus Carolina, 6 p.m. start. We end up taking that game 3-1. Snuggie ends up netting 2. Bucci gets another goal. Benner stops 32 of 33. He really came out and played his ass off. And I know a lot of us on this podcast are Jordan Bennington haters. Again, hand up accountability. I will admit when I'm wrong. He played his ass off. But Tom, did you end up seeing any of that, or at least hearing any of it, and kind of what's your thoughts on that victory, which is, again, Carolina on paper, a really, really good team in the East. You beat them 3-1 single-handedly. They just couldn't get anything going. What'd you think about that game?
Yeah, that was a very impressive win. Certainly the most impressive win the Blues have had in a long time. As you mentioned, Benner, he was phenomenal. He really needs to be more consistent because he and the defense, they can be kind of bipolar. Like, they're very on and off, and like when they're off, like it really goes downhill. But when he's on, he's on fire, and we experienced the good side of Benner in Raleigh the other night. And as you mentioned, the Hurricanes, they're a very good team in the East, and I think it's called what's the name? Oh, the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. That's not an easy place to play. That is a very difficult place to play in the NHL. They call it the loudest building in the NHL for a reason, and it's another place that I hope to do a vlog episode on sometime in the future. But yeah, that was just wonderful for their confidence and just to build some momentum going into the rest of March and early April. Playoffs, we're probably not going to make it, but I don't mind going into the off season with some momentum. Go win as many games as you can for the rest of the season, and we'll see what happens next season.
Yeah, I think that was a huge measuring stick for the boys. I think they won their game before New York, and I can't remember who we played. I'm sure somebody in the comments will let me know. But we dominated that game. We came out of that game with so much confidence. You lose to the New York Islanders in OT. That's like backbreaking. That's demoralizing for the team. You came out with so much energy, a lot of emotion. Then you go to Carolina, and the Blues tend to downplay when it comes to like the bigger opponents, right? I loved their energy. I think we kind of got outworked a little bit in the first couple minutes of that game, but after that, we kind of like took the bull by the horns and just kind of drove the bus. That's so nice. And then you play who tends to be, even though they're kind of slipping around in the West, then you play a team in Edmonton on Friday. The game, right, like back to back, right? You got Binner against Carolina, and then you put Joel Hofer, who arguably might be your number one goaltender. That's for a story for another day. You play him against Edmonton. It doesn't matter. Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid. I mean, you name it. This is just an absolute lethal team. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. It doesn't matter who's in the lineup. They're an absolute juggernaut. So you play Edmonton. You kind of come out. You're a little flat-footed. Edmonton's on a back-to-back. They got their asses slapped 7-2 against Dallas coming into Enterprise Center. And that you knew was going to be a big game. They're not going to sit around and get beat by Dallas 7-2 and then come out the next night and throw a goose egg. So you know you're going to get their best team. Carolina, that was a huge measuring stick for us. We're coming in with so much of, I would hope, some sort of confidence in your game. Then you play Edmonton. Did you happen to catch the score? Did you happen to catch the game a little bit? Because that, to me, was an absolute hard-fought victory by us.
I think I was in Kansas City at the time, and I was busy with the Big 12 tournament at the time. The Blues were playing the Oilers, so unfortunately I didn't catch it. But yeah, I just saw the final score at the end, and yeah, that was another very, very impressive win by the Blues against a very good team with some star power like Edmonton. We mentioned Draisaitl, McDavid. Yeah, they've got some dudes, and Hofer was phenomenal. I would play Hofer over Binnington for like the bigger games, in my opinion.
Yes. I know Jordan Binnington doesn't get nervous, but I shit you not, he's been nervous pretty much all this year, except for, and my apologies, I got a very angry 8-year-old pit bull upstairs who just doesn't like the mailman. But you play Joel Hofer in those moments. He hasn't really wavered that much. Again, he did kind of lose his luster at the beginning of the year, and I think he's since found those things to work on and has worked on those. But you play him against a McDavid, a Draisaitl, those guys. We were losing 2-0. We came back from a 2-goal deficit, scored 2 in the third, and then took it to OT with Robbie Tommy with less than 6 seconds on the board. And OT puts one barring in. I mean, that to me is just an exciting way to kind of cap off what should have been a very, very good game. But the Blues just kind of didn't catch their wind until the third period. But, hey, a win's a win. It doesn't matter on the score sheet. It looks good just as any other win. But, man, that was really, really good to see the boys come back, face adversity. You got guys like Falk and Schenner who are no longer on the team, and you got to take accountability for the guys that are on the ice. And I think they really showed some resiliency in their game.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and you mentioned that we wanted to talk about Jimmy Snuggerud, and he's been phenomenal. He's a great young prospect, straight out of college from University of Minnesota. He's been phenomenal with the scoring, with the assisting. He's been very good. He's really been helping us out in these wins. And yeah, sorry, I lost track of. You said was Edmonton? Edmonton was the most recent game, right?
Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to beat Winnipeg because they're pretty good, aren't they? Or are they?
Well, the thing is, to start the year, you would have thought Winnipeg's just going to be on an absolute heater. But I believe some things happened in the offseason. I think it was I wasn't coaching in changes. I think it was just like structural changes, and they just kind of seemed to never really get it going. They're right neck and neck with us as far as points. I think they're about 5 to 6 points out of a playoff spot. I think we're around 7 out of a playoff spot. So it's one of those things we're neck and neck trying to fight with Winnipeg. That was a game that we definitely needed to see if we could kind of beat that team in front of us. It would have been nice to kind of beat Winnipeg because they're Winnipeg and they deserve to be beaten, especially after what they did to us last year.
Yes.
That was heartbreaking. So for some reason, they just leave a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not a big fan of Kyle Connor because I think he's kind of a clown. But no, if you would have told me, hey, next week we're gonna beat Carolina, Edmonton. I would have told you were dead wrong, and then you said you would have lost to New York and Winnipeg. I would have been like, huh, really? Those two teams, Edmonton and Carolina, I wouldn't have put as W's on the board. Just being Connor McDavid, I mean, he's just an absolute unit. And then Carolina just being on an absolute heater and leading the Eastern Conference. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't have put those as W's. But hey, the team has showed a lot of adversity after the Olympic break, and I'm happy to see what they're going to do. I know a lot of us Blues fans are on the let's tank train. Luke Steve, Jacob's brother, is definitely one of those big proponents. But hey, why not see what you got for next year, right? Develop that chemistry. If we don't get a high draft pick, or I guess it would be a low draft pick, fine. It's not going to be the end of the world, because hypothetically speaking, the guys that are on your roster right now are going to be the same guys you start with next year. So you're not really missing much. You're going to have that Otto Stenberg probably play a bigger role next year. You're going to have Jimmy Snuggerud probably on your top line. Robbie Tommy's going to be your first line center, and everything else is going to fit into place. But beating Edmonton and Carolina was huge. Losing to Winnipeg, we lost 3-2 in regulation. Holloway, Dvorsky on the score sheet. Just it is what it is. I think the Blues have a lot of tough games ahead of them. These are the ones that you definitely want to see us put as W's. I think we have 16 games remaining. Don't quote me on that. But we've got a lot. We got a lot left. But I'd like to see us at least go. Shit, if we win 10 of 16, I'd be happy. If we went 13 of 16, I'd be more happy. But I'm just curious, kind of see where this team goes. Let's talk about Jimmy Snuggerud. We can't talk about this kid enough. You mentioned the University of Minnesota. He probably should have been drafted his junior year. Decided to go back his senior year and just get more and more experience. He wanted to lead his team to a division championship. They ended up bowing out, I believe, in the first round. Sad news, but hey, ended up working out in our favor, because he made a quick drive down the street, started hanging with Robert Thomas, and joined the Blues soon after. But Jimmy Snuggerud was named the third star of the week. Yes.
Yeah, by the
third star of
NHL.
the week. By the NHL, with 3 goals, 3 assists, for a total of 6 points on the board. Let's talk about Jimmy real quick, because that guy is going to be an absolute staple for years to come for the Blues organization. And it's been a while since we've had a kid with that much talent since Vladimir Tarasenko. So give me your thoughts on Jimmy Snuggerud and kind of what you see going forward for him.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I think I'm thinking, are we seeing a future like as you mentioned, Tarasenko kind of player, like that star, a franchise player? He's the guy for now, and now, for next year, hopefully Doug Armstrong, finds the necessary pieces. Maybe they're already there to build around him. Is he the guy you want to build around? I'm thinking, yes. Yeah, I think he's great. And talking Olympics, I think he should. I mean, it ended up working out well for Team USA, but I think he should have been on Team USA. He might be a little young, but
hey,
yeah.
Going forward, I would absolutely. You were about to say exactly what I was about to say. There's plenty of years to come where he's going to be etching his name right on that roster for sure. Absolutely. It's just crazy to me how much talent he has for how young he is. I do want to stop and say hello, Adrian. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Happy to have you join us. But yeah, it's just one of those things. He's got to be on Team USA for years to come. You got to think, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, young kid from Minnesota. Of course, a lot of great American hockey players are from Minnesota. The 3 M's: Minnesota, Michigan, and Massachusetts. But yeah, if I'm Doug Armstrong, he's the guy that I want to build around. He's the franchise player. He's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of growing to do, but let him do that. Let him make mistakes. Let him figure everything out as he continues his NHL journey. And yeah, everything will fall into place. I firmly believe if he is the centerpiece for this franchise, that better days are ahead, and we'll be back in the playoffs in no time.
No, I agree. I'm going to take a few seconds and thank some of our sponsors. First one we got to thank is Scooters Coffee. Like you mentioned, Nebraska brand. Go visit a Scooters Coffee. You won't regret it. They got some great things going there. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but those who do partake, please go visit a Scooters Coffee. You're going to support the podcast as well. Then we got Hughes Custom Design. I've got a couple of those signs right behind me. There you go, right there and back there. They are laser cut, hand painted signs based out of Maryville, Illinois. They typically have options upon request, or if you want some crazy ones like a Chicago Blackhawks or Bears, we don't like any of that. Boo. You can go ahead and get that as well. But if you want a blue sign, they always have those ready upon request as well. Perfect for any man cave, office, you name it. Go get your signs. Then we have Imprint Labs. If you, like we say all the time, if you have shit and want it on shit, Imprint Labs is your go-to. I have a Blues mouse pad over there behind me. A blue sign again behind me as well. They do it all, from metal signs to cups, tumblers, hats, you name it. Imprint Labs has got you covered. So if you want to go give them a follow on Facebook and hit them up for any of your custom design needs, please do, and you'll be supporting the podcast as well. But thanks for our sponsors. Interstate 70 Sports Media Group is who are brought to you by. Thank you guys for keeping us going and keeping the lights on, as we like to say. Back to the Blues. I know we just talked about Jimmy Snuggerud basically building a franchise around him, and he will be the franchise player from here on out. I know Robert Thomas. There's been a lot of speculation. I want to piss off the fans a little bit, piss off our listeners, and kind of get the story going. If you had to choose right now between Jake Neighbors and Robert Thomas, those are pretty much going to be the two guys that are in conversations of next captain for the St. Louis Blues. Tom, who's your pick and why?
I would go with Rob. He's been with the team for longer. Was he on the Stanley Cup team?
He was.
Yeah,
he was on the third line for our Stanley Cup team.
Yeah, well, there's the reason. Yeah, he's got the experience. He's got the talent. I think he has the leadership capability. Yeah, I would pick him as the captain with, and I think Snuggie would be. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I just called him the franchise player, but I'm not sure if I would call him the Robin to Rob's Batman. But he would. That would make a hell of a dynamic duo. Let's just say that.
Well, and I mentioned it too on the last podcast, and I got some huge slack for it. But there's plenty of teams in the NHL that use their franchise, people that may be too young, maybe not, that will eventually captain their team. And now that we've kind of had that early exit from Braden Shen, does the team kind of go in that aspect of let's move forward and let's build on a future and use a guy like a Jimmy Snuggerud that we deem will be a franchise player and put him with the captaincy? I know that everybody in the comments is going to light up with Jake Neighbors, who just happens to be one of the biggest guys that plays a blue collar hockey. Somebody who's going to be out there every night, throwing bodies, throwing checks in the dirty areas of the ice. Yeah, more like an enforcer. I get that. But do you base it on production? Do you base it on, how he is in the locker room? Like, it's a very, very weird conversation to have as, the kid's, not even 25 when we're like, hey, let's slap the C on him. But Robert Thomas comes to you and has been that veteran presence, has not really had that, like, I guess, capability per se, right? Because you passed him up with Ryan O'Reilly, you passed him up with Braden Shen. Like, there's been ample opportunities to put Thomas as that captain. Has his time kind of done and gone? So that's just that kind of the question that I feel most fans are going to ask themselves is, well, is Thomas's area of expertise, he's not always been the most vocal guy in the room. Do you think that Jake Neighbors surpasses him and takes that captaincy because he tends to be more of a locker room guy? So I was just curious about your take on that.
Yeah, I don't really know the players and like what how they are in the locker room, because I mean I'm not in the locker room, none of us are, but yeah, but I mean, yeah, I just chose Rob because yeah, again, he has the Stanley Cup win, he has the ring, and he's been with the Blues for longer. I think he knows the franchise a little better. When Jake Neighbors joined the team, first off, when did he join? I know he joined like 2-3 years ago. Did he get traded?
What was that question? Sorry.
And Jake Neighbors, did he join the Blues like 2, maybe 3 years ago? And did we draft him, or did he get traded to us, or how did he join the team? I forget.
I believe he was a draft pick. I believe. Don't quote me on that. Fans, tune in. Please let me know. I don't know why I don't know this, but I believe he was a draft pick. But I believe I believe he was a draft pick. I don't know why I don't know that. Man, huh. But no, he came on and his offense never really showed up. It was more or less his style of play that I feel like everybody kind of was like, oh, this guy, there's something wrong with him, because he's just all gas, no brakes. And you can see that every time he takes a shift on the ice, he's all over the place. And that's explaining it in a good way. He's in the dirty areas when it comes to goal scoring. He's constantly throwing hits because he's following his check. He's everywhere he should be on the ice, right? And a Robert Thomas he's not always going to be there to throw a hit or to play the body. He's always a kind of lingering around kind of guy. Like, he's always going to be in the right spots at the right times. But Jake kind of goes out of his way to be, everywhere. Sam, thank you. Sam, welcome. I didn't say hello to you, but hey, thanks for joining us. Sam said Jake Neighbors was a draft pick. So, hey,
okay,
got
thank
some
you.
homegrown talent.
Yep. I think if Robert Thomas, if he isn't a captain, I think he would definitely make a good alternate captain. Yeah, I would not be shocked if Jake Neighbors one day ended up having the C on his chest. But yeah, I think you make a lot of very good points. That he is, as we mentioned, he is the enforcer of the team. I watched him when I was in St. Louis to watch the games against Vegas and against Montreal. And he was just very fun to watch. He's everywhere all the time. He's just a really cool. He's just a really fun guy to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's the cool thing that what I think is an added benefit is Jake Neighbors is one of the younger guys on the team. We talk about building that core group around Jimmy Snuggerud and Dalibor Dvorsky. I'll even add Aldo Stenberg to that. Jake Neighbors has about 3.5-4 years on him in the NHL. But using that core group of guys that's so young and under the age of 27, like, that's what you want. You want guys like Jake Neighbors that are leading those young guns and kind of showing them the way. Hey, this is how we play St. Louis Blues hockey. We're not going to be playing, like hockey like the Colorado Avalanche. We're not going to be playing, teams like Dallas, and we're not going to be hitting like those guys. We're going to play our own style of hockey, and if you want to be on this group and you want to be on this team, this is how you're going to play, and this is how you're going to get your ice time. And I think that's what exactly, yes, do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. Lead by example. I'm not saying Jake Neighbors needs to tell Jimmy Snuggerud to go break his hand on somebody's face, but no, follow your head, follow your check. Lead by example. Play the Blues, blue collar way. And I think Jake Neighbors is the right fit and will do that if he's given the captaincy. Let's fast forward past, the captaincy, because we got so many times we can talk about that between here and now. The Blues have probably one of the hardest remaining schedules for them to even sniff a playoff spot. And so Blues fans, turn your ears away if you don't want me to, if you don't want to hear all the bad news that I'm about to bring you. But the Blues remaining schedule, and I'm going to read it off just in case we haven't addressed it yet. It's a tough one. It's going to be rather daunting. So the next games we've got Calgary, Vancouver, we got Washington, San Jose. Macklin Celebrini has also just made an absolute nightmare of the Blues. Toronto without Austin Matthews, back again playing Macklin Celebrini in San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Colorado twice back to back,
Oh, geez.
Winnipeg, Chicago, Minnesota, and then we finish our year off playing Pittsburgh at home, and then the Utah Mammoth, who always have the Blues numbers. So, of those teams that I've just rattled off, what team do you feel like is going to give the Blues the biggest chance to kind of take a step up in the standings? And what team do you think is going to absolutely just crush our hopes and dreams?
As far as crushing hopes and dreams, I hate to say it because I cannot stand them. I would say the Avs. I mean, they are, I mean, I hate to say it, man, but they're legit. I mean, McKinnon, McCarr, Tays, they've got so many studs, and they right now are definitely the Stanley Cup favorite. As far as teams that we have the best chance, I would like our chances, yeah, with Toronto. We again without Austin Matthews, he's out. He's out for the rest of at least the regular season, isn't he?
Sorry, who was that?
Austin Matthews, he's out for it. Yeah, for at least the rest of the regular season. If they make the playoffs, maybe they will, maybe they won't. He might come back, but we'll see in that regard. But yeah, I think Toronto is certainly beatable. And is that game in the Lou, or is that in the 6?
Toronto is at home, which is great because I believe we do play Toronto decently well at home. Playing in Toronto is just an absolute mess. But having him out 3 to 4 weeks and then further evaluation after that point, if I'm Toronto and I'm out of a playoff spot, Austin Matthews isn't sniffing the ice. I believe it was a knee on knee with Radko Gudas. That guy is the next Tom Wilson. But Radko Gudas hit him knee on knee. I think he got an MCL tear or something like that in there. So I would expect him to be out for the remainder of the year. Just he's a franchise guy. You don't want a guy like Austin Matthews coming back too soon and causing further damage. That's just a guy that you don't want to see. You don't want to lose early on next year too. So I'd rather him sit out, enjoy, his couch and, get everything ready for next year. Cause again, Toronto, they were making quite a push. There were a lot of teams or a lot of guys favorites, to win, their division, but there ain't no way that that's going to happen. So, I think it is Colorado. Fortunately for me, I'm going to the April 7th game, against Colorado, and I'd love to see us just stick it to them, because Stan Kroenke will always suck. But I'm curious, kind of what Colorado does. They're going to win the West at some point. I'd love to see Dallas kind of give them a run for their money. They're going to win the Central, but is Dallas going to be the team that kind of stomps them out to win the West? Only time will tell. But watching Colorado Avalanche just make an absolute just disaster of the Central. I mean, look at the team and look at the top 3 teams and look at the bottom 3 teams. If you would have told me that that's how I was going to shake out, I would have put Colorado within the first 3, but I had no idea they were just going to come out on an absolute heater. I think they're 14. I don't know. They're almost close to 50 wins, which is just diabolical. Because how do you get any sort of momentum? Colorado is currently 44, 13, and 9.
Jeez. Okay, and you mentioned that we played them back to back. Is that one time in Denver, another time in St. Louis, or both in Denver, both in St. Louis? How does that work?
That is going to be, we play them on April 5th in Colorado. So I believe that's Ball Arena.
Yep,
and then
Denver,
we come home. Then we come home and play them on April 7th at the Old Enterprise. So that's the last game on a 4-game away streak. That's not what I wanted to say there. Colorado
road
at
stand.
Colorado is the last game on a 4-game road stand. Yes, that's gonna suck. And then we're coming home to face them again. So to me, and we'll talk about this further because I wanted to touch on our goaltenders because I'm an absolute goalie nut. Do you play the same goalie back to back? or do you let the first game depict whether or not the same goalie goes again?
I do. I go with the latter. I maybe roll out with Joel at first in the first game. Let's see how he does against that absolute monster line that the Avs have with McKinnon, McCarr, Tays, that three-headed monster, and we'll see how he does. And if he does well, play him again. If not, bring out Benner. Yeah. And now Benner, he knows those guys pretty well, having played on the Canadian Olympic team with them, and and that brings me back to Hofer, since he's Canadian too. Why doesn't he get a spot, like a goalie spot on Team Canada? I think, and no, I don't want to bag on Benner too much, but I mean, I think he's worthy of a goalie spot on Team Canada, but I think Hofer should be up there too, at least in that conversation amongst the Canadian hockey coaches.
I think, and that's something we got to clip this and we got to use it for years to come, because I do think, and I've always spoken very highly of Joel Hofer, and I know Sam Robinson is basically just one of the people that loves Joel Hofer through and through, as she should, because from a very young age, he was a very, very outstanding goaltender that was in our ranks. And people forget that Jordan Binnington probably wouldn't have sniffed the NHL for quite some time had it not been for our absolute all-time collapse in 2019. He was fourth on our depth chart. And if it wasn't for a couple guys in the front office saying, hey, let's give this guy a shot, because we all thought that we were just up a creek without a paddle in January. And they were like, hey, let's see what we got in our farm system. Backtracking to Joel Hofer, I feel like, is kind of given the Jordan Binnington treatment. Like we trust so much in JB because he brought us the Stanley Cup home, but Joel Hofer has been showing you time and time again. He is second. He is second in shutouts this year with 5. He has 5 shutouts, and he has played half the amount of games that Jordan Binnington has played. And so it's like the guy has all this that you're seeing. Imagine if he was playing 20 to 30 more games a year, he could easily be in talks for a guy that plays for the Olympics in 4 years, or, if when the All-Star game happens, should be an All-Star candidate. It's like, we have some really good competition in our goaltender slot. And I really appreciate that the Blues have not always had that 1A and then had like a 1C or D guy. It's always that 1A, 1B. Like there is neck and neck as competition in that goaltender slot, because you never know what team you're going to face and what goaltender you're going to get. And you'd rather have 2 guys that are just literally like the same people, the same person on your roster. And I think Joel Hofer has so much potential to be a guy that plays 50, 60 games next year. Mark my words, fans. The Blues are going to be in that turning of the age where Jordan Binnington becomes the Jake Allen of 2019.
Yep, and it would not, as I mentioned, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if Joel Hofer in a future Olympics, 4 Nations, World Cup of Hockey, some sort of international tournament, that he ends up becoming the starting goalie for Team Canada. I really think it's
that would be really cool. And honestly, again, no knock to Jordan Binnington. He absolutely showed up and showed out during the Olympics. He is been marked as a big time goaltender. Some they can say what they want about what happened last year in the playoffs. That was just poor defensive minded defensemen early and often back there. I don't think that was at all Binnington's fault. If it wasn't for Binnington, we wouldn't have gone to 7 games. And winning the Stanley Cup playoffs. Jordan Binnington was the hottest thing as opposed to an actual kitchen. That guy could not. He stood on his absolute head in Game 7 in Boston. He made saves that no goaltender should ever make, back to back to back to back. And that, if we don't have Binnington, we don't win a Stanley Cup, and I will stand on that through and through. He will always have a place. He will always be able to drink for free in the city of St. Louis. But as far as the turning of the tide, why wouldn't you want to kind of, I don't like using this word, it sounds weird, but groom Joel Hofer to become that next 1A and easily have JB waiting in the wing, being like, hey man, I got your 6. If you don't have it this night, I got you. I'll pick you up. But let Joel Hofer kind of take that number 1 spot, because that's the guy you're going to ride or die with in the coming years. So I'm very, very excited to see what his potential does with this organization and this team, because like you said, I'm always talking about it. I love the young youth that the Blues draft and, kind of like put in that perspective. I'd love to see what they do. So Joe Hofer, hey, keep your eyes set for Team Canada, my guy. You're going to be
Yes,
following in
sir.
JB's footsteps. One more thing. I know I said I'm going to ramble for an hour. We're going to keep it going for just a second. The last thing, and hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, and I say that the Blues are going to plummet. Do the Blues stay hot? I know I said I think they got like 16 to 18 games. Again, don't quote me. But do they stay hot? When I mean hot, I mean like they win. Let's say of 4 games, they win 3. Do they keep
Win more
that
than
kind
they
of
lose.
going? So you're going to say they're going to win more than they're going to lose, right?
Yes.
Do you say they're going to have in the next 18 games they're going to finish 500 or above, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
love
think
that.
they will. Yeah, I think they will. I think, the last 18 games, I think I say they go, don't want to say 9-9. I think they go 10-8.
I've been told they have 16 games left, so let's go. So you're
Oh,
going to
okay.
go.
Okay. Then in that case, I would say, okay, if I have my math right, I'd say they go 9-7.
I like that, honestly. And I said this before. If they go 10-6, I'm still happy. Part of me wants them to kind of just absolutely just go through into the playoffs. And I think if they win 13 of the last 16, then that would be the case. They might be kind of sniffing a second wild card spot. But I don't know. I've said this time and time again on this podcast. Let the guys, let the let the youth play so that you can see what needs to be developed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got guys like Bergeron, and you got guys like why can't I think of the dude's name? Logan Mailloux, right? You got guys like that who you're going to get more ice time from. You're going to see what they have to offer the team. Guys like Logan Mailloux need some more power play experience if they're going to be on the power play unit next year. You want to see some things that even if the games don't matter and you're kind of out of a playoff spot, the best thing you can do is put yourself in those scenarios and figure out what you need to work on, what you don't need to work on, what you're good at, and kind of see where the team is and use it as a measuring stick going into the offseason and kind of building upon that and making sure next year you don't open up the season and fall on your face. Because I can't deal with another one like that.
No.
Roger said 8-6-2 is his goal. I'm tired of the OT losses, Roger. Get those out of here.
Yeah.
I can't sit here on my hands and knees and beg any longer. But so 8-6-2 is Roger. You got 9-7. I got 10-6, I believe, is what we're going for. I'm curious what the people in the comments are thinking. But is there anything, Tom, you wanted to talk about or mention before we wrap it up?
No, I think I'm good. Once again, first off, Dakota, thank you so much for having me. It was a privilege to be on here and talk all things Blues hockey, and also talk about my journey into becoming a Blues fan. I know it was a little unconventional way, especially for a guy from Omaha, Nebraska, but also talk about my YouTube vlog. And again, just look up my name. It's right there. You see my name right there. Tom Seline, Tomsceline. Just type my name into YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. Be sure to watch episode 15, which is the vlog episode that I did at the Enterprise Center. I know it's long, but thankfully you can speed watch it. I speed watch my own videos all the time. And I as I mentioned earlier, I've got another episode coming out from the Big 12 tournament at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, which is hosted. I've never been, but I know it's hosted Blues preseason games in the past. But yeah, that episode should hopefully be out by the weekend as we go into March Madness. And yeah, I'm just so excited for that episode, and I'm very excited for the future of the Blues. And yeah, I'm in St. Louis at least once a year, and I'm in town whenever they're doing a back-to-back home games. And so yeah, I would love to meet you in person, and yeah, whenever I'm back in St. Louis. And yeah, it was just great to be here, Dakota. Thank you so much.
Yeah, would love to catch up and maybe go to one of those Blues games with you. And no, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day and coming on the podcast. We always enjoy talking to the new fans, talking to the new people, and just Blues fans in general, because I know we all love and hate the Blues at the same time. Mostly love, not so much hate, depending on if you're Doug Armstrong or not. But Tom, thanks for your time. Before we get out of here, do you mind giving me a "Let's Go Blues"?
Let's go Blues!
All right, see you, everybody.
Take care.